Hello, and welcome to another episode of the M2M session, and I'm your host, AI. So today, I want to talk to you about how to control your anger. I believe you must have already listened to my confession on anger, and you know that I used to be a very, very angry person. Literally speaking, I don't take nonsense back then. You can't try it. Like as you're giving it to me, I'm just giving it back to you. My head used to be hot. I know they take rubbish. Permit me to use pidgin. I know they take rubbish. If you do, you collect. I can shout at the top of my voice. Yeah, but you see, I actually learned how to control this anger. And for me, it's not even as if I went for, any counseling or therapy. I just sat down on my own. I read some books because I really, really wanted to work on my anger. I needed to bring it under control. I realized that my anger was getting the best of me and I needed to control it. I really, really needed to control it. It's about last year while I was still working in my former office. My staff made a high recommendation of me, and they said, Mr. Anna, you don't get angry. And in me, I was amazed because at least that was an accomplishment. Oh, trust me, if they had met the former Anna, they wouldn't be saying that. Yeah, that was because I learned how to work on my anger. I learned how to control my anger, and that's what I want to be sharing with you right now. I want to show you how you can also control your anger. Okay, how can you also control your anger? Because you see, if you don't control your anger, it is going to rob you of meaningful relationships. It will rob you of meaningful relationships. It will rob you of opportunities. Anger will close the door on a lot of things that you would have benefited from. Yes. So I want you to understand two things. There are two important things that you must understand. Number one, dealing with anger starts with you. It has nothing to do with the other person. It has nothing to do with the person that will offend you, because offense will definitely come. People will naturally offend you. Everybody wants to step on your toes, but you have to start with yourself. You have to learn. There's a phrase that I learned early in life. It's called cut off your toes. You have to learn how to cut off your toes so that people will not march on it. Because if you have no toes, people want to march on your toes, they will actually have nothing to step on. So it starts with you. How does it start with you? It starts by you talking to yourself, telling yourself the truth. Let me give you two affirmations that you should probably learn to say every morning when you wake up. Number one, talk to yourself and tell yourself, I will not get angry easily. Yes, you need to tell yourself that. Tell yourself that you will not get angry easily. What you're doing is that you are conditioning yourself to behave in a particular way. That's what happens when you speak to yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and say, I will not get angry easily. Number two, tell yourself that nobody is good enough to be my enemy. Nobody is good enough to be my enemy. So the second thing you need to know, the second and important thing you need to know, I said the first is you need to start with yourself. And how do you start with yourself? Is by talking to yourself. And I've given you the two affirmations. They are more, okay? But those two affirmations start by telling yourself that. The second thing you need to know is that your mental health is important. Do not trivialize it for anything, bro. Please don't. Anger will rob you of your mental health. See, what you're thinking about when you start getting angry, those emotions, those vibrations in your heart, those boilings, it's not just in your heart, but it's in your head, because you start thinking of things to retaliate. Thoughts are flying into your head. How can you do this? How can this person say this to me? And at once you're thinking of what to do to react. That's why people who don't know how to control their anger, it means that they've gotten to the point where their mental health is in a state of decay, and if somebody does anything, they can pick up any object and smash the person. Why? Because they can't take it anymore. It is not that they can't take what the person is saying. Remember, I said the first thing I said, but it has nothing to do with the other person. It's all about you. It's not that they can't take what the person is saying, but they can't take the thoughts that are running through their head. Because as that person is talking, you're also thinking of something. You know, when somebody is saying something, you're not just hearing what the person is saying. Thoughts are flying through your mind. It is those thoughts that you have been unable to manage and handle that is making you feel like you can't take it anymore. Your mental health is important, so that is why you need to learn how to control your anger. Alright, so I'm going to share with us a couple of things that you can do. 7 things you can do to work on your anger. If you want to control your anger, these are 7 secrets that you can apply to control your anger. Okay? Number one, don't take things personal. Do not take things personal. Yes, what does that mean? By do not take things personal, I mean that when the person is speaking with you, or who is doing anything to you, is saying some things or making any actions, okay, you naturally want to feel like this person is saying this to me. This person is doing this thing to me. Does this person know who I am? You see, that's how most of us respond. Do you know who I am? You do you know who I am? No, it's not about you. It's not about you. Yes, I started by saying that it is about you and not the other person. But you see, when the person is actually making you angry, it is not about you. Actually, it is not about you. What the person, controlling your anger has to do with you and not the person. But in the moment when you are about to get angry, it is not about you. Do not take things personal. See that girl or that lady that is saying that thing. The reason why the person is saying it may not even be because of what you did, because most times you didn't even do anything meaningful. It may just be a transfer of aggression. So that is why the person is speaking to you that way. Once upon a time, one day I was in a cab, and very funny and amazing young man. You know, he drove me from my junction down to the junction of my office, and I gave him money. I didn't have change. Okay, I gave him money, and he was just supposed to give me back a little change. The young man started shouting, I don't have change. Which should I look for change for? Under normal circumstances, every other person would have come down and looked for change. But bro did not want to look for change. Bro decided to shout. What did I do? I told him, sorry, give me the money. I was the one that stood on the road and I looked for change myself. That guy probably left the house and his wife must have offended him. His wife must have probably said something that got him upset. Maybe he left the house and he did not eat. Maybe his car is bad. Maybe he woke up on the wrong, I think very early in the morning, around 8 a.m. Maybe he woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And here he is coming to transfer aggression. See, if I had absorbed what he was saying, I would have become angry. But you see, I didn't take it personal. I had learned that, wow, what this guy is saying there, he's coming from somewhere. Something had happened to him. So what he's saying, it should get me angry, but it will not get me angry because it's not about me. It's about him. He's the one that is trying to transfer aggression. People, everybody, every day, they are trying to transfer aggression. Don't accept it. It is not everything you must accept. Don't. So do not take things personal. Okay, yes, you may be saying, okay, what about the one that the person is personally attacking you? Even if the person is personally and naturally, and every time the person is attacking you, do you know what is going on in that person's head? Do you know how the person was raised? I grew up in a house where my dad constantly made everybody upset. Now he has changed. Now he's calm, But while growing up, anything you do, I shared all of this in the podcast and on my confession on anger. So if you've not listened to it, go back and listen to it. You understand where I'm coming from. My dad, every time my dad will come back from work, I would run to my room. So I grew up with an angry dad. So it actually affected and influenced me. So you don't know how people grow up. People's background affects the way they relate with people. Not everybody has the courage to work on it. Anyways, that's why I'm here to help you people. To help you. Not everybody has the courage to work on it. People's background are different. When you see everybody on the road, they are not just walking on the road. They are working with their experiences. They are working with their background. So they are working with their upbringing. So that person may be saying that, that's why if you met me, I could be so raw to you, because when my dad was always raw, I could say things anyhow. I don't care how you feel. That's how I was raised. And you'll be feeling bad, you'll take it personal. No, don't take it personal. It's not garbage in, garbage out. You have to filter the things that you hear. Not everything you hear is for you, especially when it's trying to get you angry. It's just trying to trigger something in you. Don't take it personal. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to understand. That's the first thing you need to do to control your anger. Do not take things personal. Don't. Number two, let down your ego guards. Let down your guards of ego. Let down your pride guards. Let down the guards of your pride. We both know that you have ego. I have ego. As men, we have pride. We have pride. Okay? So when somebody says something, most times the person is puncturing our ego. Yes. Most times that people respond out of anger, it is actually a matter of ego and pride. Do you know who I am? Why will you be saying that to me? Why will you try that? Who gave you the audacity to say that? It's a thing of ego. It is not you speaking, it is your pride speaking. You are guarding your ego so much that you don't want people to puncture it. So when they try to puncture your ego, you respond. You respond to the ego by reacting to your anger. That's what most of us do. So let down your ego guard and do not respond to your ego. When you learn how not to respond to your ego, then you will learn how not to react to your anger. Yes, let down your ego guards and allow people to puncture it. Allow people to puncture your ego guards. Yes. See, just because you are not the only person in the world, you need to expect and anticipate that not everybody would be like you. People will naturally try to offend you. People will naturally try to puncture your ego. You can imagine dressing so handsomely and leaving the house, and somebody will tell you you're not looking well, you're not dressed well. Imagine wearing your best outfit to the office, and then your boss will rubbish you, will finish you, will tell you, what are you putting on? What are you putting on? Will abuse you. Or worse of all, you probably be walking on the road, and then maybe it's a raining season, and then one careless driver will just drive and splash you water. Let down your ego, guys, bro. Let down your ego guards. Allow people to puncture your ego. Yes. Yes, allow people to punch, especially with the opposite sex. Especially with the opposite sex. We usually feel somehow whenever it is the opposite sex who is trying to get us, who is trying to make us angry. We usually feel like, you're a woman, I'm a man, I can beat you. Hey, stop that. Stop it. Stop thinking that way. You beat who? Beat who? Beat what? So because you think, I'm speaking to your ego now, right now. I'm speaking to your ego. Yes. So because you think you are a man, you feel like it is right to hit a woman? No, you're actually devaluing yourself. You're making mockery of yourself. Yes. Oh, because you think you're a man and you can hit a lady, You want to exercise that domineering, egoistic manliness in you? No. That's being childish. In case you don't know. That's being childish. The day you raise up your hands and strike a lady, that day you become irresponsible to your manliness. Because you fail to take responsibility of your ego and your anger. Prove that you are a man and keep quiet and do not react. Women will always talk. That's how they are. In case you don't know, women will always talk. See, when a woman sees a problem with anything, she will talk. Women are wired to talk about the way they feel. But men, we are not wired to talk. That's how she's wired. So why are you offended by her nature? Why? No, why? Tell me. Why? As men, we don't lead with our feelings, so we don't. See, men, we see feelings as something to get over. But a woman sees her feelings as something to chew over forever. So she will talk about the way she's feeling. The strength of a woman is in her mouth. The strength of a man is not in his hand, but in his mind. Let me call this the 2M. The 2 M's of strength. Your mind and your mouth. Your hand is not there. The strength of a woman is in her mouth, and the strength of a man is in his mind. Yes. Let down the guards of your ego. It's in your mind. When she's saying all of those things, don't take it personal. When you let down the guards of your ego, whatever she's saying is flying. You're listening and you're paying attention to what she's saying. You are not taking it personal, and you're not feeling like she's abusing you or she's insulting you or she's puncturing your ego, because you understand that she's letting out her feelings. Number 3, Number 3, the third secret to controlling your anger. Do not react. Do not react. Keep quiet and respond later when you are calm. Do not react, but rather keep quiet and respond later when you are calm. When you're relating with a woman, you realize something, that as she's speaking, the moment when she's speaking and letting out how she's feeling, when she's done. No, you can bring up the matter another time, she has forgotten about it. But it's different with men. Okay, but that is not the right time for you to react or respond. Reacting and responding are two different things. At that moment, you can't respond. I'll talk about how to respond. Okay, I will talk about how to respond. But at that moment, you can't try to respond. Responding is what you say with your mouth. Reacting is what you do. React, action. That's the action you take. The action you take. Now, don't react. You can either react by shouting, keep quiet. No. Or raising your voice. It's not about the words, but what you do. You may intend to say something meaningful, but at that point you would take an action that will imply something else by raising your voice. You would communicate something different. By probably hitting her, I've already spoken about that, you will communicate something different. By speaking faster, you will communicate something different. But rather, do not react. Keep quiet. Listen to everything the person is saying, whether it is a male or a female. Listen, even if it is your boss in the office, listen to what the person is saying. If you can, take notes. Pay attention. Then respond later when you are calm. You can probably go and meet the person later on when the person is calm. Maybe even if it is a day later, even if you're calm another day, the next day, or maybe later in the evening, go and respond. See, I'm not saying you should not respond. Oh, you must respond. You must respond. Yes, you must actually respond. But that is not the best time to respond. Okay? That's not the best time. So keep quiet. Just absorb everything. Listen to everything the person is saying. Now, what's the fourth thing you should do? Number 4. The fourth thing you should do is walk away. Walk away. Please, do not walk away when the person is talking. The reason why I'm telling you to walk away is so that when the person is done talking, you do what? Walk away. Not when the person is still talking, you walk away. No. No. That's not even good. You shouldn't walk, no matter who you are, you shouldn't walk away when somebody is talking to you. Whether it is your boss, a senior person, whether it is your age mate, whether it is a lady you're in a relationship with, your wife, your girlfriend, or your junior, do not walk away when the person is talking. Wait. When the person is done talking, then you walk away. The reason why you are walking away is that you've heard what the person is saying and you're walking away to go and calm down, to go and take a chill pill. If it's your boss, say thank you ma or thank you sir, then you walk away. If it's your wife or a lady you're in a relationship with, let her know that you're walking away. Don't storm. I did not say storm out. Most persons, when they try to control their anger and they get to this point where they want to walk away, you see that when they leave the house, when they leave the door, they slam the door, push. No, you did not walk away. You actually reacted. You actually reacted. The door sold you out. or the speed at which you use to walk away showed you out. No, don't storm out. Gently walk away. Walk, don't storm, don't run. Just walk away gently. Walk away gently. Okay. Number 5. The 5th thing you should do, and you can do, you should do rather, to control your anger when you've walked away and you're alone. And this is actually what you do to actually calm yourself down. Okay. These are the things you actually need to do to calm yourself down. Think about what the person said. Think about it. Go to a private place, do not, most people at this point, they talk to other people about what the person said. They gossip, they gang up with people and they start discussing, listen to what this person said to me. No, you are totally doing it wrong. What you're doing is that you are still fueling your anger. The goal here is to actually control your anger. You are still fueling your anger. Do not talk to people about it. That's not the time to go and start blabbing your mouth. Listen to what she said. How can my wife say this? How can my girlfriend say this? How can my boss say this? No. Go and sit down. If you must buy a cold drink, buy a cold drink. Go to a restaurant, where there's AC and it's actually blowing you, or take a walk and think about every single thing that the person said. Think about it. Reflect on those thoughts. Reflect on the person's words. No, you are not actually taking it in, and you're not thinking about it because it is true. You're not sulking. You're not worrying. You are just replaying those thoughts in your head. If you can actually do this, then you are actually on the right path. Think about what the person said, from the first thing the person said to the last thing the person said. Think about it. Replay the thoughts in your head. Now, what should you do with those thoughts after thinking about it? That's the 6th thing you're to do to control your anger. Number 6. Respond to your emotions. Respond to your emotions. Responding to your emotions is a critical asset in emotional intelligence. Yes, this is a critical asset in emotional intelligence. You actually have to respond to your emotions, because you see, when the person was talking to you, all those things you were feeling and you were thinking of, those were your emotions. Now that you are thinking about it again, okay? Now that you're thinking about it again, you are stirring up those emotions again. But this time around, you actually have the time to analyze those emotions. Remember, back then in the scene, there was no time to analyze the emotion. It was just coming at you. But this time around, you actually have the time, the space, and the courage to analyze exactly how you felt. So it's time to respond to your emotions. Okay? Now, what do you do to respond to your emotions? And how do you respond to your emotions? Okay? There are 8 different ways you can respond to your emotions, especially when it has to do with an angry emotion. When it has to do with anger. Number 1, admit that you are angry. While taking that cold drink and the AC is blowing your head, or maybe you're taking a walk, admit, okay, that every single thing that the person has said has actually gotten you angry. Admit it. Don't be self-denial. Most people do that. Don't. Actually admit it, that, you are actually angry. Number 2, the next thing you should do is ask yourself, why am I angry? Why exactly am I angry? Yes. You need to answer that question. answer the question, why? Everything that the person said, why are you angry? I can tell you 90% of this anger will revolve around your pride. 90% of this answer will revolve around your ego. That's why I told you, I said by telling you should let down the guards of your ego. 90% of why you will be angry will revolve around your ego. Why are you angry? The third thing to do, the third way to respond to your emotion is to ask yourself again, what did the person do or say that made me feel angry? Anger is a feeling, okay? What did the person actually say? Out of everything that the person has said, there is one thing, maybe one or two or three things that the person said, okay? What did the person say? Or what did the person do? Is it that the person raised his voice or her voice? What is it? Is it the person called a particular name? What exactly did the person say or do that made you feel angry? Number four. How exactly did the person make you feel when that word was said or when that action was taken? How exactly? I hope you're taking note of this. You should actually take note of it. Write it down somewhere. So when next you're angry, you can go over it again. This is what I did, guys. This is what I did. Each time I felt angry, when I was working on my anger, I had a notebook where I wrote down these questions. The note, it was in my book and it was in my notepad on my phone. So whenever I feel angry and I get to the point where I quietly walk away and I'm calming down, I'm thinking about those thoughts, I just pull it out and I begin to ask myself these questions. And many times, okay, I was writing it down. I would highly recommend, if you can write them down, write it down. Speak to yourself on paper. That worked for me. You can write them down. So, how exactly did the person make you feel when that word was said? Or when that particular word that the person said that made you angry? How did the person make you feel? Not how you felt. Yes. How you feel is angry. You've already established that you are angry. So now, how did the person make you feel? Did the person make you feel stupid? Did the person make you feel incompetent? Did the person embarrass you? Did the person disgrace you? Okay? How did the person make you feel at that point? Was it an action that the person took? Did the person make you feel like you're weak? Okay? How? Then next, the fifth way to respond to your emotion is also another question. Responding to your emotions means answering some series of questions. It's actually speaking to yourself. The fifth way, what exactly would have been your reaction? What exactly would have been your reaction? How would you have reacted to that person? You see, for me, when I mastered all of these questions and I no longer needed my notepad, okay, and I no longer, because see, when you stay on this and you gain mastery on your anger, the truth is you will no longer need to walk away. You will stay there. When the person is talking, you are asking yourself these questions. Because you see, our brain is logical and emotional. The women have learned how to use the emotional part and the logical parts. But you see, we don't know how we as guys, men, we only know how to use the logical part, but we've not learned how to use the emotional part. That's why a lady can be talking to you and thinking of something at the same time, but we cannot do that. We can't do that. So responding to your emotions will help you learn how to make use of the two parts of your brain, the left part and the right part. So by the time you master this, you will no longer need to walk away. When they are trying to get you angry, you see, there are many times I've told myself, someone is actually saying something to get me angry, and I'm in my head, I'm like, this guy, I've finished slapping you, I've finished hitting you, I've like, it's a guy here. I've finished giving you attitude adjustment, we've entered the ring, wrestling, we fought, and we've reconciled. Then I'll just laugh. Because you need to actually tell yourself the truth, guy. How would you have responded? How would you have reacted? Would it have been a slap? Would it have been a kick? Would you have carried something to break the person's head? Be real. You actually need to be real to yourself. You have to be real. Yes. Don't say, oh, I know. You have to be real, though. Because you see, most times it's in self-denial that we actually take the action. That's why you see people say, hey, I did not mean it, oh. I did not mean it. It's a lie. It is not that you did not mean it. The thought came, but you not identify that thought. It was there. Before you ever take an action, it has first of all become a thought. Yes, before you carry something and hit somebody, you thought about it. So don't say you did not think about it though. You did. You did. I remember a scenario where one guy was saying a lot of things, and in my head, I have folded my hand, I have punched him, I have carried a chair, and I have smashed his head. When he was done talking, I was calm, and I responded to him. I told him exactly how I felt and what he was saying, and he apologized. And when he was done apologizing, I told him, guys, this is what I was thinking. I was thinking of carrying him to break your head. You get? Yeah, but that's me who has learned how to, master and control my emotions and my anger. You can get there. You will actually get to that point. Okay, so what's the sixth way you can respond to your emotion? The sixth way you can respond to your emotion, okay, is what would have happened if you reacted that way? Yes, what would have actually happened if you had reacted the way you wanted to react? So probably in your mind you said probably the answer to number 5, probably it is that you wanted to carry something to smash his head. What would have happened if you reacted that way? For me now that I have been able to master my anger, when I get to this point, this is the reason why I don't react to anger. Because you see, we do not think about the repercussion of our anger. By the time you've done this up to 10 different times, automatically you would know what would happen if you react the way you would have reacted. And then you would be the one that would tell yourself when the person is talking, you would now be advising yourself, just keep quiet. Because at that moment you are now analyzing everything. If I do this, this is what will happen. So because I don't want this to happen, I will not do this. I would rather prefer to keep quiet and walk away and then respond later. So what would have happened if you reacted the way you wanted to react? Number 7, the 7th way to respond to your emotion is also asking yourself another question. What do you want? Really, what do you want? Do you want peace or you want to quarrel? Do you want peace or you want war? Do you want to fight or you want to make peace? What exactly do you want? Probably it may be that maybe that may not be what you want. Maybe you may want the person to respect you, okay, or maybe you may want the person to take correction. This will inform how you respond to the person when you go to respond to the person. What exactly do you want? Okay, and which of them would be better? Do you want peace or you want war? Which is better? Do you want to fight? Do you want quarrel? Do you want peace? Which is better? Okay? Now, the eighth way and the final way to respond to your emotion is now. How do you feel now? Yes. How do you feel now? So now that you've thought about all of these things, now that you've asked yourself these questions and you've answered them, how do you feel now? Do you still feel angry? Do you? If you still feel angry, give yourself some time. But if you don't feel angry anymore, then you're ready to move on to the next thing to do to control your anger. But if you still feel a little bit of anger in you, stay calm. Okay? Clear your head. If you still feel angry, that's not the best time to move to the next step. It is actually the answer in number 8 that will determine the next thing you do. Yes. That's all determine the next thing you do. It's actually how you feel now. You need to keep on asking yourself that question. How do I feel now? If you feel angry, allow it. 10 minutes later, how do I feel now? If you still feel angry, allow it. 20 minutes later, how do I feel now? Maybe if you write down the answers to the questions on how to respond to your emotions, if you wrote down the answers, okay, you can go over those answers again and read them over. Okay, you can read them over. Yes, you can. Now, if the anger still lingers, if each time you ask yourself, how do you feel? And you keep feeling angry, quickly ask yourself, when this person said this, what was probably going through the person's mind? Now this is called empathy. You can't function in empathy. That's why I did not bring this up earlier on. You can't accurately function in empathy if you are still in cloud 9 anger. And of course, at this point, you've already chopped down the trees of anger, so you are not as angry as before, as you were before. So this is the part where you actually get into the person's shoes. Okay, you get into the person's shoes and you find out, okay, why did this person say this? Why did this person react this way? Okay, great. So now those are the 6 things you can do to control your anger. Now I said I was going to share 7. Now what is number 7? Number 7 is respond to the person calmly. Yes, respond to the person calmly. At this point, you can now find a good time to go and respond to the person. Please don't go barging into the person. If you can write a note or a letter, write a letter to the person expressing how you feel. In the letter, you're not writing the letter to correct the person. It could probably be something like this. Hello sir, hello ma, hello this, hello that. First of all, thank you for what you said. Secondly, this and this and this is how I felt. Okay, and probably you may also want to try to explain yourself. Just talk about the whole scenario. Okay, just talk about the whole scenario. All right, as simple as that. At that point, you're ready to respond to the person. Now, of course, it is not every case that actually needs a response. Of course, probably if maybe you were actually reprimanded for something that you actually did wrong and the person actually overstepped his or her boundaries, you may not need to respond, okay? But if it was more or less like an accusation, Or maybe like even like the case of the taxi or of the cab driver, where are you going to see him to respond to? Yes, so you see, that's why I said by saying that most times it's not about the person. It's not always about the person. It's about you. It's about how you're feeling, because your mental health is important. Because that person will leave you and go about doing what the person wants to do. But you see, the anger will leave you with a state of mental health. But in doing this, you will actually help yourself. Okay? You will actually help yourself. So learn to control your anger and don't let it control you. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast episode. I trust that this has really been a helpful and impactful session. I hope this will help you, and I'm sure it will help you. I know it will help you. You do all the things I've shared with you. You would actually gain control over your anger. It's my greatest desire to see that you actually control your anger. It's my greatest desire to see that every young man out there will learn how to control their anger. So as much as possible, share this particular podcast with your friends, with your guys. Let them also get to listen to it. You have a friend who is struggling with anger, share it. You don't like the way that the person you don't like the way that the person responds or reacts when he is angry. Share the podcast with the person. Okay? And of course, if you try and it's not working, and you're having difficulties still working on your anger, feel free to reach out to me. I have an open line. You can send me an email, anaiyan01@gmail.com. I will respond to you immediately. ANAINYANG01, it's not ZERO01 @gmail.com. Okay, or you can look me up on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Anaiyan. That's my social media handle. So thank you very much for listening to this podcast episode. Till I come your way next time on the M2M session, I remain your host, AI. Cheers.